Well, I believe that it's got different value for different entities. Firstly, it has a lot of value for the trustees being trained, in the sense that quite a lot of the trustees are new to retirement funds and they need a basic induction into retirement fund aspects. And so for quite a lot of them, it provides that first base layer of information. It's also got value for the retirement funds itself, in the sense that it empowers people to participate in meetings through the information that's being provided via the retirement fund education. And what we found in this regard is that there's a multiplicity of advantages of that training for the training funds. In the firstly, in the sense that it improves knowledge within the fund. It also provides improvements in governance, in the sense that especially a lot of skills that's being trained with respect to aspects such as ethics, for example, governance aspects. Then it's also got a lot of value for the members of the retirement funds, in the sense that they gain through the funds being better managed and also better investment decisions that's being taken. And of course, it's also got a national value, in the sense that quite a lot of the retirement funds, by being better managed and also then via the information that the retirement fund trustees obtain and use that to the benefit of the members. Quite a lot of the members could, for example, find over time that there's better fund performance, and of course that they are also then being able to have better lives after retirement.
With any training provided in South Africa, you obviously need to have access to technology when it comes to presenting any training in a virtual manner. So unfortunately in South Africa, a lot of delegates that really want to attend most likely such sessions do not have the access to the necessary technology. And then the constraint comes in when it comes to load shedding as well, where these delegates, in order for them to actually attend the full session, they need to locate themselves either in an office where there could be other distractions, or they need to make sure that they are sitting in a place where they still have access to a stable signal and to actually join the complete session. When it comes to the actual presentation of the sessions, the delegates' feedback that we've seen is that time constraints and actually the vast amounts of information that is transferred to them during such a session could become a challenge, that there should be a proper facilitation and pacing almost during each session to make sure that the delegates are actually attending and absorbing all the information that is provided to them. Then another thing that we've seen now with the hybrid approach following COVID is group dynamics can, in any training session, cause some issues, where you might have some delegates that are not participating optimally than what they could be. And what makes it difficult for a facilitator when it comes to facilitating something in a virtual manner, they can't really engage with the delegates to the same extent than what it is with a face-to-face session. So there are some challenges as mentioned, but we've seen that the ASISA Foundation with the RFTE program have really adapted and to address these challenges in an optimal way. Some of the major insights that the BMR has gained over the past 3 years that we've been in partnership with the foundation doing the monitoring and evaluation of this program is that, first of all, facilitators are crucial in the success of the program. We've seen from delegates the feedback that they say that this training that they receive is actually adding value and helping them to fulfill their roles as trustees. Some of the other major insights are that there's an increased need for face-to-face engagement, definitely the past year as well, where with COVID time and going online completely, a lot of our delegates have now moved to the place where they feel that a face-to-face engagement, having that group dynamics again, where you are in the same room as your fellow delegates, can actually add value to attending those sessions. But very important as well to what we've seen is there is a different level of knowledge and skills and experience in the delegates attending these sessions. So something that the program needs to address, and have started to address, is to actually look at these varying levels of the skills and address these and talk to each individual and touch base on that delegate's individual level of their needs. And that brings us to a learning journey actually for each delegate, where our public workshops have actually enabled the foundation and the academy to touch and get that touch point with individuals and walk with them during this journey and say, let's look at your specific needs for your fund, and let's empower you with additional skills and make you aware of other courses that are available. And with this, basically providing optimal results then for the delegate, for the fund in the end, to make sure that that individual is met on their individual base.
The Bureau of Market Research, in determining the impact of the workshops that are being presented by the ASISA Academy, has been using a so-called theory of change to determine the impact of the workshops. And in the theory of change, there are actually different levels of impact being measured. At the first layer, it's being determined to what extent the workshops that are being presented gave rise to people obtaining skills, and to what extent, for example, those skills have really been absorbed by the various workshop participants. At the second layer, you try to determine to what extent the skills that were absorbed actually gave rise to changes in the behavior of the participants, and also changes in the behavior of the trustees during trustee meetings, to what extent they can actually now better participate, etc. The third impact layer is trying to determine to what extent the skills that people obtained and their changed behavior is actually giving rise to the funds operating better, to what extent there's improvements in their governance, to what extent there's better decisions being made, etc. And this is a so-called output layer. Then there's also an outcomes layer, which is the fourth layer, and that basically tries to determine to what extent the improved skills of people, the better behavior of the trustees during trustee meetings, the better outputs that were produced actually gave rise to better outcomes for the fund in terms of both governance as well as benefits to the members of those funds. And then a final layer is to determine to what extent there's a long-term positive impact of the workshops being provided. When you apply this theory of change, what came out from the focus groups that were conducted for the purposes of this monitoring and evaluation, it was very clear that when you look at the input layer, that's the skills that were inculcated into the trainees, there were very positive effects. The trainees actually indicated that they gained a lot of skills, and especially here, the worker representatives that were not really trained with respect to pension fund aspects, that they gained the most in the sense of induction courses in basic information about the operation of these funds and the basic skills that they require to be effective in these funds. And also what we heard from the principal officers and the chairs from these funds, that they believe that this is one of the major impacts of the ASISA Academy with respect to the RFTE, in the sense that they provided those skills that enabled people to participate in fund meetings and to build further skills on top of those. And remember, the way that you build further skills is to engage during fund meetings, and also there's a lot of other professionals and other courses that they also have got access to after the ASISA training. It was also indicated that on that second layer, which is the behavioral layer, that the training really enabled people that benefited from the various workshops to be able to engage better during fund meetings, to ask questions, to understand quite a lot of the concepts, to have a better context, able to participate more fully as trustees. And especially what came out in this regard is that when it comes to decision making during trustee fund meetings, that they were better able to participate in those type of decisions. At the third level of impact, namely the output layer, and this is the layer where there were improved outputs because of the training that the various participants obtained during the workshops. It came out very clearly as that some of the outputs of the fund meetings, such as, for example, decision making with respect to the allocation of retirement fund benefits, as well as, for example, investment decisions in terms of asset allocation, that there were real improvements in that regard, and that because of the fact that people actually had the training, that decisions could be made quicker and better quality decisions could be made. When it came to the outcome layer, there were the view was expressed that this is not the place where there's an optimal impact of the ASISA Academy workshops. But then they indicated that it's not supposed to be there, in the sense that they believe that the biggest value of the ASISA Academy is to provide those basic skills right in the beginning, that cumulatively over time, as people also obtain more skills from discussions within the fund, as well as other professionals that they engage in, that over time that the fund governance will improve, and that could be a very important outcome also, as people make better decisions and they act more ethically because of the ethics courses that they then have. When it came to the total impact of the ASISA courses, there were quite a lot of appreciation, and then here also as indicated that especially as a provider of that first base layer of information on which all the other skills could be built upon.
When it comes to implementing and actually facilitating such programs, there's basically two main drivers that will make or break such a program. And that is firstly capacity. So how many people can be reached, and what is the capacity of the institution providing such education to actually provide this education on a continuous basis to vast numbers. So that's the first one. And then secondly, it comes to what is the interest? Is it more profit driven? Because that's a lot what we see from various other programs and short courses. The intent is more on a profit driven, more interest of gaining capital, and not what is the optimal being a national interest, being an interest of making a change in the world, making a change in trustees and how they can really change their behavior and actually apply the knowledge that they can, and by making this accessible. So that is where the foundation are actually playing in, where they have, first of all, the capacity to be able to roll out this program on a large scale, reaching various individuals. Those individuals are delegates attending in more than one course in a year. And with that, also having the facilitators that are knowledgeable, that have the experience coming from actual field experience when it comes to retirement funds. And with that, the foundation also has a national interest at heart with this program, making it accessible because it's funded. So it's accessible, easy for people to access this education. And it's not about making a profit. It's really making a difference in trustees' lives and making a difference in how they apply the knowledge and the confidence that they gain from attending these workshops in their daily lives in a personal matter, as well as obviously in their work and role as a trustee in a fund.